Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me now? Is there no sound? Is there sound now? Can anyone hear me? Just let me know if there's sound, if you can hear me, yes or no. Now. Okay, that's cool. That is cool. Welcome, gang. Let me just set something up here because I see that there is something that I would like to change. Yes, which is this. Yes. Yeah, okay, bam. Yes, I wanted to just like go in and change my background. So, welcome everyone, and welcome to this live stream where I'm actually going to, talk about a few things, and I'll put them up on the screen. I want to talk to you guys about Learn to Play Live, which is for some dollar setups. I'd like to also talk about, is genre important, yes or no? Connectivity issues, sound design basics is something I would like to cover. Gas, workflow and organization, and preparing for your first gig. Now, contrary to what you see me do a lot on my YouTube feeds, is playing and jamming live. This is really a Q&A, so let me know in the comments section if there's anything you would like to hear, and I will address it. So first of all, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Analog Kitchen, Lucian Ford, and I'm a synth music enthusiast. I've been a synth music enthusiast ever since I was very young, actually, because I hail from the 80s, which was, in my honest opinion, the synth pop era. I listened to tracks by the Depeche Modes of this world, and the Eurythmics, and that kind of style. So fast forward to today, I'm also programming synthesizers and jamming and stuff. And then at some point I was like, I need to set up a platform for it, because there's a lot of questions that a lot of people have, and it doesn't always. Not everything is addressed. I think that the music industry nowadays is very result driven. So it's a lot about what it is that you can do, but not on how you do it and the whole process. And the process, to me, is something that I really, really love. I love the fact that sometimes things go wrong. I love the fact that happy little accidents make great tracks. And the best tracks that I've made were things where there were a lot of influences in there that I didn't even plan for. So, can I get myself into a situation where those happy little accidents occur? And now that they're there, how can I teach other people to do it? So, Learn to Play Live is that exactly. It's a course where I myself and a lot of other people are teaching you how you can perform live, or at least perform with synthesizers, creating tracks, creating your first loops, how the sound relates to other sounds. And yeah, it's really cool. I've done a few master classes with Honey Smack, with Science Saw. We've done a few cool things, and we've got a lot of cool teachers also lined up. So Trovarsi, for instance, is one of the teachers. Tomo's one of the teachers. We've got a lot of teachers out there that will help out with this course. So it's really, really cool. So thank you for being here. Let me know if there's anything unclear or something you don't really hear. That's something. So who's it for? This is what I said, for people that are wondering if they or sometimes you start already with a few synthesizers, or you're contemplating, you don't want to at least make music with a laptop, because I'm very much about the DAWless music production vibe. If you want to just like make music with your ears instead of with your eyes, then Learn to Play Live is for you. We've just started. We started in September, so we're a few weeks in. If you want to join or hop on board, you can still do that. And otherwise, the new class will start in March. But we've got 4 master classes that lead up to that. So, and there's a lot of information on those master classes that we will turn into homework assignments as well. So it's really cool. So I can also stick stuff on the screen, which is really cool. Tough Chunks has incredible master classes indeed. Thanks, Tough. Thanks, that's really cool. I see Yeroshi Chabanina. I'm sorry if I'm ruining your name. Metalhead here. I heard 12,000 Suns by AP around 12K when the internet became popular. And till this day, it's one of my favorite tracks. Yeah, cool. Very cool. So let me know what kind of questions you would like to ask me. It's also good. I'm here. So that's learntoplay.live. Check it out. You can enroll right now, which is still on 40% off. So it's a really cool thing. So dollar setups. Now when I started with an MPC and I started with an Octatrack, and I'm very much in the thinking of I try to simplify my setup as much as I can. Now, simplifying a setup is something that's proven to be very hard for me, as I'm always trying to just like take more stuff to the stage. I'm always trying to bring another synthesizer, because I think it's to do with insecurity sometimes. Once you get a little bit more insecure, you think you need to do more. So you will bring more, but in the end of the day, the answer would be do less. So yes, I'm in that process now where I'm really simplifying my dollars setup. So I'm bringing at the moment a modular case in which I have a few modules, but essentially I'm really toning it down. So what do you need to really make it work? I think a kick drum, a snare drum, a hat, and a ride cymbal, or maybe a closed and an open hat. That's something. And then I will look at something that can do bass, because I think bass and the drums is something that you can dance to in whatever type of dance music. If you're sticking between 120 and 130 BPM, let me know where you guys are at. That's how I'm doing it. And I usually use something otherworldly over the top. And with otherworldly, I mean something that doesn't really sound musical or sound rhythmical right in the middle. Like, for instance, the Moog DFAM is a machine that I really like. I really enjoy the fact that it can do both things. It can be very, it could be very, how should I put it? Otherworldly. Like I said, it's weird. The sounds are all over the place, and I love to stick that into the drums. So if I've got my drums, if I can get a little bit technical with you guys, if I have my drums, for instance, a kick drum and a snare drum and some hats, and we're looking at frequency range, low, mids, highs, I would like to have something that can gel those things together. Why? I love Vince Clarke. I love Depeche Mode, especially their old stuff. But when you listen to drum computer music like Nitzer app or the Normal or that kind of stuff from back in the days, that new wavy kind of vibe was very sparse. It was very 606 driven, kick, snare, hat, snare, kick. And to have your tracks become a little bit more modern, I think you need to have something that I call ear candy that sits in between the drums and glues that thing together. Now, something that can modulate or be elevated a little bit it's really cool. Now, of course, you can use that. You can use samples for that, which is something I'm going to get into as well. But I think then the DFAM or something that's weird, or a 303 can also do the trick, but that's then more of a musical thing. So I'd like to ask you guys out there, what is your favorite box of choice? And when it comes to that kind of sound, let me know in the comment section, and I'll stick you guys on top of on the screen as well. So so I'm trying to set my dollar setup, and you want to keep it simple. You can just then go for kick, snare, hats. And I'll try it like that. So if I'm playing live, I've got like the Battering Ram by Shackmat, which is a kick module, and that's very versatile machine. Really cool. So Deborah says hi. Hey, Deborah, welcome, welcome. So I really think to like kick. The kick needs to be like round and what I would do if you're in the dollars realm. Let me put it this way: the one problem with the dollars realm is that you don't really get to EQ your stuff when you're doing it live. You have to really rely on your ears, which is something that's fine, but then you have to think of it differently. So what I try to do is, there's a trick, by the way. There's two tricks that I'll teach you. One trick is to feel out how the sound in the room or in your studio is if you don't really know it. A trick is if you've got speakers and you can place your thumb on the rim of the speaker and you feel the letter D, the letter D, D, D on the attack transient of your kick, then you're golden. That's the kind of function one style kick. It's always going to work out well. That is my kick drum. Not too long, not too short. The longer the kick is, the more it's going to just like take out energy out of the room, basically. So the kick will stop before the next hit in your sequence is going to happen. Boom, boom, so it's short. Then a clap or a snare or something that can act like it. Nothing too bright. And then your hat, and then I'll play 16ths with 808s, and then an open hat. That would be cool. I see in the chat, Tough Chunks says, Defang with effect tills is amazing. Yeah, true, 100%. I agree with that. Except, what advantages are there to doing drums in a Yorick versus a dedicated kick machine? Very good question. The advantages, I think, when it comes to a modular synthesizer is that the kick drum there, if it's a module, is just a dedicated module. So there are going to be dials on that machine that are usually not on a drum computer per se. If I'm looking at a 909, the 909 has a few things that you can tweak. But if I look at what a module does, an advanced module, say, let's talk about the Battering Ram, for instance, that is absolutely an awesome machine because there's two different styles of what the attack can do. And the tail does different things. You can overdrive it in a certain way. And I know that there are machines out there that can do it, obviously, but they tend to be very pricey. If you want to have an advanced machine that can do all these things, you easily have to spend like, what is it, over $1,000 for it. And sometimes people just don't have that kind of revenue to spend on that thing. So I do think that within the modular world, you can get to those features at a lower cost, which is cool. So that's why I'm using it. That's why I'm using that. Have you ever used a subharmonicon? Got a love-hate relationship with the thing. I can never get anything musical out of it. Well, I've used it. I haven't owned one, and it's deep on my gas list, I must say. Who else got a subharmonicon and gets music out of it? Because it's something, I don't know. I might check it out and stick it on the. But I don't have any. I don't have anything bad to say about it. But it wasn't something that I thought I buy. So it didn't end up in my set. The DFAM has, and if you're looking at a 84 HP rack, which is not that big, it takes up a lot of real estate to have it in your modular setup. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that kind of vibe. I see here the Electron Digitech for drums and MIDI sequencer is awesome. Yeah, that's also high on my gas list. Is anybody owning a Digitech 2? By the way, I'm looking to hear from you guys. Let me know. Tough Junks is also saying, yay. Cool. So, all right. Now, I would like to move on and talk a little bit about genre. Okay, Marshall Dick says yes. Let me know, Marcel. Do you like it? Is it something different from the first one? I think there's a lot that has improved. Um, so yeah, let me know on and what do you use it for? This is also what I'm very interested in. And anyone else questions, just hit them up in the chat. Is there a way for me to put the chat? Show comments on stage. Yeah, there you go. This is easier. Yeah, cool. So now I don't have to constantly place them. So you guys are up on the screen. I'd like to talk a little bit about genre because a lot of people think that genre is important. I do think it is important to a certain extent. When you start out, it might be a cool idea to have some sort of an idea of what it is that you are going to produce or want to make. But throughout my career, I have tried so many different things. And I've been a house DJ, I've been a progressive house DJ, I played hardstyle, hardcore. I just, trance. I think the versatility, to be versatile, is where it is at. To be honest, if you want to be, the more versatile you are, the better it is. There was a time that was impossible, that you could not be as versatile as you can be today. Like if you look at um, Fred again, Fred again is one of those artists that is really doing whatever he likes. It's drum and bass, it's house, it's whatever. And that is something that is cool right now, but it wasn't. So I think genre is important, but when you, and it relates to your setup. Yeah, if you want to make techno, then obviously I would suggest an octatrack, for instance, or a digitakt. Who else is using what else for techno? If we're talking techno, let me know in the comment section what it is you're using. I see Marshall Dick saying, yes, very not familiar with the first version. You're talking about the digitakt there. Yep. So yeah, for techno, octatrack, digitakt, 100%. There's a few things. You've got musical machines, in my honest opinion. You've got technical machines or loop-driven machines. An MPC, for instance, if you want to make progressive house, I would always say go for an MPC. Why? Because I do think that an MPC is one of those machines that's really cool. It really is versatile in terms of what you can do, but I am not on MPC 3.0 on the software because MPC, Akai have changed their workflow around to a way that is really, really weird. One of my former students, she said, she emailed with Akai and she asked them, why did you change a lot of stuff in the new firmware in the software? Why are you doing that? And they said, like, well, we want to be more like Ableton. We want you to just produce one track. With the previous software, the 2.0 software, there was a thing where every sequence could have their own sort of like architecture when it came to different MIDI channels. So that you could have like all these different MIDI channels that could do different things. That was really cool. So you switched a sequence, which meant that you can now have a completely different track start. And they have eliminated that in the latest software, which is weird. And then, yeah, you can do it, but you have to just do it in a really weird way. So MPCs, yes, they are versatile, but if you want to use them for live production, if you want to do it for playing dollar sets live, I 100% have to say that the 2.0 software, so downgrading to that, that's the absolute cool one in order to structure your different things. So looking at the chat, Marshall says Erica synths baseline, DB1 and a night verb. That is nice. Night verb. Yeah, on my gas list, high on it. And Roland SH4D for sale. Yeah, it's always cool to try it out there. However, we're not selling stuff here tonight. So yeah, so that's a little bit of a thing. I really swap my style around all the time. I think that the flexibility of what you can do nowadays with all the pieces of equipment is really cool. So having said in the beginning of the chat that I'm trying to slim down my setup and make it a little bit more concise, that would mean that obviously I've got all these boxes that can just now be in a different configurations, a different kind of setup. So this week I've been toying around with a Minilog XD. I just wanted to go the Korg route. So I wanted to really feel out what is the modern day Korg as opposed to the old school Korg. So I had a MS-10, an old school MS-10 next to Minilog XD. And I connected the Minilog XD via USB to an MPC, MPC-1. Absolutely amazing. It was really cool to have that kind of a workflow. An Octatrack with the TB03, also very nice to work on. And yeah, I find that the different machines dictate what kind of a style of sound or whatever I would like to make. And I think that that's really, really cool. So are there different ways of working? Yes, I think there are. In the beginning, I had an MPC and I had an Octatrack, but they both worked together. I was working with a setup like that, very, very big setup, but it worked because now I think the boxes are getting closer together. I think a Digitech does a lot of stuff that an MPC also could do. But there was a time, 2017, 18, and 19, I think that the MPC stood out from something else. And that was really, really cool. I really liked that. I see Master D is in the house. What's happening? You MPC is fine, but the MIDI is whack. I don't know if the MIDI is whack, to be honest. I don't think that the MIDI is whack. I think, to be honest, why would you say the MIDI is whack? Let me ask you that question. Can you tell me that? And Master D, especially for finger drumming. Yeah, true. You see a lot of people doing that, but nowadays more artists are getting into the making house music with an MPC, which is also very cool. Which is okay. I couldn't get it to work properly. Ooh, okay, so was it the MPC or was it you? I tell you, the MPC is the most. I don't know. Were you on 3.0 software? Or were you on 2.0? Because the 2.0 software, I didn't have any problems with it. At some point, I could just literally like have a lot of stuff that I could connect to it. I had stuff on USB MIDI, I had stuff on 5-pin DIN MIDI. It just worked, you know. The problem that I had with the MPC, and I don't know if it's there still, is that you could MIDI map stuff, but it would lose the mapping. So you get to a gig, you just load it up, and all of a sudden your mappings would be gone or something. That was just weird, you know what I mean? So yeah, problems with it made it slave. Okay, yeah, maybe then you just had a faulty one. Okay, unfortunately. I'm on 3 and 4 in the force, but you know, got really okay. Let us know how that works out for you, Limi at home. Yeah, that's cool beans. A master clock is okay. As a master clock, it's okay. Yeah, that just depends. Sometimes it is working. What are you guys using for a brain? That's another question I'd like to ask you. The brain is also a very important part in your setup. The brain being the one that sends out clock and is the main culprit of your organization, so to speak. What are you using? Marshall Dick says, Digitech 2 is superb sense, very precise clock. I have no external clock device, but the Digitech 2 works flawless. Have you daisy chained? How many machines did you daisy chain to this Digitech though? Because what I find with the modern day MIDI stuff is that it, for some reason, talks cool to other Digitech stuff or modern day stuff, but it will not play ball with old school stuff. I have connected an Octatrack to an MPC to a Roland TR-909, and I was not happy at all. It was like I opened the gates and all the horses ran into the meadow like I just could not dance to it. Or maybe people that dance out of beat could dance to it, but it was not what I was looking for at all. So I'm using a multi-clock for that nowadays. Oh, and there's my light. My light went off. Cool. But I'm still, you can still see me, so that's all cool. I'm using an MPC-20. Oh, you're using an old school one, but thinking of switching to a Digitech or finding another solution. Yeah, the 2500. Yeah, that's an old school machine, but with the modern day machine, you get like more and more modern stuff. Obviously, I mean the Digitech. I think it's over bridge connected as well. If am I right? You can connect it to a computer and save your stuff, so the workflow would be an easier thing to do. I think. I'm still thinking of the. I'm gassing for it, to be honest. I'm gassing. Yes, it is. Liam says yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, yeah, because that's one thing that I like. Think I really like as well. You know what I mean? So modern day stuff, but it should suit your workflow. It depends on where you want to go, how you want to go about it. I would always suggest get one box and work on that box until you know it. And if you can do one whole track on this one particular box, then you know you're golden, really. And then add stuff to it later. And if you don't mind taking a lot of stuff with you, then obviously you can take more boxes. If you start to get a bigger setup, the thing I would suggest is to get a case. Start with a small pedal board and just like Velcro your gear to it and connect it in a way that it would work so that you can always get to a place, open up the case, and just wire it up, and you'll be going in a few seconds. Now, there's a few advantages to having a small case where everything is embedded in. For one, I do a lot of shows, and and I'm lucky enough that they don't place me in the beginning of the night. Now, this means that the DJ box is mostly flooded with people that have been drinking there. So I have to place my gear in a wet environment. Not cool. So uh, things to take care of with your setups is to make sure that you have a fly case that you can just like get everything out of the way, place the case there, and just like wire it up, and then you're golden. You know what I mean? I'm seeing people saying, "What is a multi-clock?" The multi-clock was originally made by the Erfindingsbureau Meyer out of Berlin, ERM, and it literally is the gate between the DJ world and the MIDI world. It has 4 tracks of MIDI that it will send out. So it clocks it as a general clock, and then everything runs in time. But it's got these 4 switches, like pitch controls, like DJ pitch controls on the top. So if your MPC is here and your TR-909 is here, you can just like tell it to just do this. Not only that, there are another knobs on the bottom that can give it swing. So a 606, for instance, can give you that minus Richie Hawtin kind of groove. You know that a 606 doesn't have any swing on it. But now you can get the which is really cool. The multi-clock also has analog inputs and stuff, so you can initially just like have it being triggered by a drummer, and it will follow. So it's really cool, and it was designed to talk to Ableton in the beginning, but it's for me it's been my brain because I don't want to deal with stuff. In my case, I've got in my modular case. We're talking about my modular case. I'm the lucky owner of a RetroKits 008 MIDI sequencer. Then I've got a Sitka module sequencer. And then there is another sequence that needs to go to my 1010 black box. Now, these 3 things don't play ball at all. They love each other, but they hate each other when it comes to timing. And then when I use this multi-clock, it really sets everything straight. It really, is less of a headache. And I can use it to structure my track. So if I turn something on, say I can connect a 303 to it. If I say I can now turn the 303 off, and then, just create a structure that way as well. So I think it's a very savvy machine. That's the multi-clock. Another question. I use my RC 505 as a brain for all my things, but I think it would be useful to have some master that is more efficient. just explained the multi-clock. Look into it. It's not it's not a, it's going to cost you a little bit, but it's one of those machines that's really, really, really helpful if you're taking your stuff seriously and you want to do these multiple MIDI things. If you have a small setup and you just want to trigger one machine, then it's not a problem. You know what I mean? I mean, if you've got an MPC, it sends out MIDI to one machine, like maybe a bassline or a mini tower or something like that. Then it's never going to be a problem. Basically, okay. So yeah, then we ran into the different topic, connectivity issues. That's what let me start by saying mistakes will happen. It will 100% happen. And I call it ghost in the machine. Sometimes I connect stuff in the studio and it works fine, and then I'll get to a gig and then I'll just reconnect it, and for some reason the sound is gone. Or I had it like I played in Groningen, which is up north in Holland. I played this old school rave type set that I needed to do. It was really cool. So my train of thought was, okay, old school rave set, how am I going to go about it? Let me take the 1010 black box. The 1010 black box to me is like the sample player that I can just launch clips off, which is really cool. Or when I play one shots, I can even drum. So I've got like this small controller, a MIDI fighter connected to the 1010 black box, so I can launch all these clips. And then I have that run next to the drums that are coming from the modular. Now it's really, really, really cool. Then I had a J6. I thought, okay, mini guitar, monophonic bass, J6, polyphonic synthesizer, drums coming from the modular, and then samples and rave stuff and otherworldly stuff, and the Amen break, up by 7 semitones, obviously. The Amen break was also coming out of the 1010 black box. I don't know what happened. Once I got there, I don't know why the J6 didn't play. Gone. And it's nerve-wracking if it happens in the middle of your set. So you're playing, you're trying to figure out why it's there. You've got all these nice chords that you have in your mind you're going to play, and then at the end of the day, you make do with what's happening. And obviously, I mean, you CIA your way out of there. So the crowd never picked up on that one of the things wasn't working. But I didn't enjoy the fact that happened. That was one thing. Another thing that I had happened was, and I still to this day don't know why it happened. I played with, I did a show in Paradiso, Amsterdam, where I connected an old school Calc setup. Calc is one of the Novation techs, and he found a way at that time to have a launch control XL MIDI deoctatrack. Now that means going from USB MIDI to 5-pin DIN MIDI. So there were a few Kenton boxes that were in that link to make that happen. And I don't know what happened. Something sent out, I think the Minilog XD, the controller sent out a program change, and all the samples throughout the whole set in my Octatrack, all the samples had the same start and end point. So I was playing the set and I heard and I was like, what happened? And then I started looking at the samples, and it just reset every sample throughout the whole thing. 50 minutes. I was already setting myself up 50 minutes to go time. And then I was playing with Quasar, and he was standing next to me. He's like, are you okay? I'm almost finished. Are you ready? I was like, oh no. Luckily, I started on a new set that week, so it wasn't finished, but I could wing my way out of it. But stuff happens. Now, connectivity issues, I've learned to keep it as simple as I can. Short cables, that will work. Nothing too long. If you can color code the cables, that is even easier. And if you can label it so that if you are too nervous, it happens. Or you're late, or you're trying to get to a venue and you're in the car and then there's traffic and you get there late, so your sound check is not happening. And the sound tech says, let me help you. It's cool to have stuff color coded so that you can tell them, okay, red is all outputs, yellow is all MIDI, and blue is all USB, for instance, and nothing too much. It's like, okay, go get a drink, I'll sort it out. And that's so, or get stuff in a case and connect it beforehand. And then I see a question by Deborah who says, what kind of brands or small travel cases are good to check out? I'd like to practice. Well, this is the thing. There are no brands that are making travel cases for a dollar setup. You have to be DIY with this. You have to do it yourself. I literally have a few Pioneer controller cases that I ripped the insides out of. So I think in terms of the durability, there's something to say about that. But then I just buy foam and I'll lay the foam in the case. And then it's a night of listening to DJ sets and getting a sharp knife and, you know, getting a double layer. So the foam underneath is just like small pieces. And then the top layer is something that sits snug on my machine so they can breathe underneath. And all the wiring goes on the underneath. So the top looks smooth and there's no wires that you can see, but the yeah, everything, the power and stuff is in the bottom of the case. You also have to think that the bigger the case is, the heavier it's going to be. So even small cases will get heavy fast. So I would suggest, like, if you've got like something like a controller, a Pioneer controller case that's a little higher, then obviously that could work. I see suggestions coming here. I found a gun case rifle for my gear. That will help with the machine gun 16 hats hypo 303. But how did you how did you sort it out? Did you also place foam in it, or did you just like, how did you stock your excuse how did you stock your gear in it? Mossady says, I'm gonna get some water in a second. Magma Carry Light DJ cases. That worth taking a look. That's good. Lifesaver. It already had foam in it. That's nice. It already had foam in it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for the tips, everyone. That's really, really, really cool. How are you enjoying it so far? Are you getting any value out of this information? I'm just going to keep ranting about stuff that I know or maybe don't know. So let me know and like and subscribe. Again, this is the kind of stuff we get into with Learn to Play Live. We really, really value getting people to a point where they convincingly can do a set where they say, like, you know what, this is really something that I can master. This is something that I didn't think I could master, but I am there now. I can actually do it, and that's really cool because I was very scared to do it. And if I go back to my past, in a long distant past, there was this track called Quadrophonia that I produced, and that was in 1989, would you believe? Now, at that time, there was another act called Quasar that did a track called 7 Stars, and we both got signed to Sony Music. It was, I think we were one of the first electronic acts to get signed to a major record company. Now, Gert van Veen, Quasar, he lives in Amsterdam. He's a gear nerd. He loves his gear. He was bringing in 909 and he was bringing all this stuff. And I was like too chicken to do it at the time. I was a bit jealous because it sounded really, really cool. And he was really performing live and brought the essence of what was underground house music. He brought that to a bigger stage, which was really cool. I opted to go for the DJ route. With Quadrophonia, I just rapped and I just brought the relics of my previous rap group with me on tour, and we went all over the world. But later, I started to think on, yeah, let's do this live thing. So it was years later, to 2017, as I told you, 16, where I felt like I would like to perform live now that I see a resurgence of these machines. Yeah, and that's how I thought to just do it. And here's where we are right now. So Learn to Play Live is that. How can you perform live? And it's not only synthesizer stuff, I think, because there's a lot of DJs that want to just do a hybrid thing. I see a lot of people want to do something hybrid or want to go someplace or want to at least add some stuff. And let's be honest, if you DJ nowadays, I do think that live music is going to be the future of DJ. Ah, there I said it. I think live music is going to be the live electronic music because what's happening at the moment, you make a track, you upload it, within maybe 2 3 hours everybody's downloaded it already. What I love about the live music aspect is the fact that you create something live on the fly or something that is something you do there, and the crowd loves the rudimentary approach of it as well. They love for you to not know what's happening. They love for you to also be insecure, and they love to know what's going on. Because a superstar DJ that gets all that money and is playbacking because he's got this sync show with all the words flying up on the screen, I don't think that that is where entertainment is going to be at. I don't think that if you watch a Rolling Stones concert or you go, I don't know, you're gonna watch any kind of band and they play back. You're gonna want your money back. I think, and this is why I do feel that a resurgence of this old school way of working, especially in the synthesizer realm, is definitely something that I see as the future of electronic dance music, and people are either going to go overboard with a lot of gear or somebody's just going to bring this one box. But I do feel that it's really cool. It's early days, but I predict that within a year you'll see more people really looking to go and play live because, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? So that's why I thought, it's cool to learn how to do it, because otherwise you're going to spend a lot of money on a lot of things, which is what you all do, because I said it before. The problem with being insecure if you don't know where you're going is spending more and adding more. That's what we always do. Nobody thinks to spend less or use less gear to actually simplify the workflow. You know what I mean? But nobody does that, and that is the answer. You should do less. So can you eventually work on something that will, whatever you feel here is going to translate there. There is no guitar player in the world that's going to say, let me place my guitar in a drawer and I'll tell the drawer to find out when to do this and that. And that's not it. Guitar players, drummers, saxophone players, they think it here, you'll hear it instantly. And the fact that they don't know where they're going because they are also going to fly up into that sort of like realm where, they don't know, that is absolutely awesome. So that's what I love. And that's why I think Learn to Play Live is there. But I will guide you to try and become a better artist, or become an artist, or at least do something or know what you're doing, because we buy stuff and I think 90% of people in the chat right now, hates reading manuals. I hated it too. And then again, there is something to say about reading manuals because the manufacturers want you to understand a certain thing that they think their machine is. Now, I've been to Superbooth many a time. That's where you talk to the designers of gear. You know what they tell you? Yeah, this is how it works. That is how it works. That is how it works. But basically, if you look at Roland, for instance, let's talk about them. They've got this big building and different layers, and the different departments don't really talk to each other too much sometimes. That's what happens with big companies. And unfortunately, that means that not everybody's clued into what's happening. Now, I've heard somebody say that there were even algorithms that they used of sounds that were there just to create a sample bank that goes into the machine. Now, I value the live aspect of making mistakes and happy little accidents because the happy little accidents, they are what makes music. So that's my little rant on that. A fully prepared. I want to be fully prepared on that happening. That's why I follow the Learn to Play Live course right now. Yeah, Deborah's one of the Learn to Play Live students, and she's really, really, really making a lot of progress, which is what I like. It's going very, 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 very well. That's cool. You're doing well. AI cannot do that. No, AI cannot do that. Definitely not. AI cannot do that. So, and that is, yeah. But let me ask you guys. Now we're gonna start. Is AI gonna take over this whole thing? Yes or no? A lot of people are scared for that. What do you think of AI? Is AI going to um, which is funny because this week the Billboard Top 100 the country chart, the number one track is an AI track. By the way, that's news right now, and everybody's just falling over it. It's not really the coolest track, but there you go. There's a track um, made by AI that's topping the charts right now. AI sounds cheesy, no feeling. Um, do you not think that maybe if you prompt it well and it gets smarter, that it will become better? Is that something that people think is going to happen, or are you afraid that it might happen? What do you think? Not dollars, but it will make the box in the box production very boring, easy, generic, and fast. Yeah, well, I've got a few things to say about that whole situation. I think, and maybe I'm naive, but what I do think is that, um, before you start appreciating food, you eat McDonald's food, and nobody was saying like it was bad. You grow out of it, and you just don't want to eat it anymore, realizing it's not food you're eating, and they're experimenting on you and stuff. So yeah, obviously, things change as you get more knowledge of it, and I do think that with AI is a get there fast type situation, but I do also think that um, there are too many um, different things that happen when you play live that AI cannot think of that fast. I think because AI is a predictable model, and when I'm playing live, there's nothing predictable to what I'm doing, nothing at all. Even to the point that it's nerve wracking because I want it to be a little bit more predictable so that I can rehash stuff. I finally found a setup on my modular that I can patch and does the same thing. Now that took me a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, I finally got there now. But still, there's accidents, and like I say, ghost in the machine. Where's the sound? Oh, all of a sudden there's a different preset. Huh? I never played that. Or you want to open stuff up, especially if you only got two hands and you have to do like three tasks at the same time, which is what happens if you're in the zone. Stuff goes wrong, and that kind of stuff you just cannot prompt that kind of stuff. That's never ever going to happen. I think it will put the music scene back to the underground. I hope so. Did you see one of the guys on Instagram talking about it, like how he um, also thinks that it will have that McDonald's top ground and then it will just go back into the underground. What is on the ground, guys? What is on the ground? Because I do feel that is sometimes a word that is being used in the wrong sense. I can play you a track now, and then if 20, 30 people will hear it, it's on the ground. If that same track gets heard by 30 million people, nothing changed in that track. But for some commercial, what happens in that instance? And why is it all of a sudden a dirty track for people to listen to? That is something that I'm always very curious to find. Is it because a lot of people know about it, or I don't know. Yo, I see that Doming is in here as well. Nice one. You were in the wrong stream. Yeah, something went wrong with my stream key in the beginning. My stream got deleted, so I needed to make a new one. So yeah, so that's what I think on AI. I have used AI to a extent, though. That Suno website for some reason is funny. Um, yeah, top lines. If you're for 80% there, like I can create melodies, I can program melodies, I can write lyrics, but I will spare you and not sing. That's what I think. I mean, I no, I will never sing. So I put that into that Suno model, and what came out was convincing enough for an AR to go like, oh my God, who's that vocalist? And I was like, okay, if you're not hearing it. But you have to, I think the process is it is almost blasphemous. It feels to me, to just have a conversation with the computer and say like, okay, can you tweak it a little bit more this, and can you do a little bit more that, and yeah, I don't know, that is what it is. Shall we move on? If there's anybody that still would like to say something about AI, now's your chance. I will be moving on to sound design basics. Sound design basics. Well, for me, sound design basics for me are things I can do with my modular. I'd like to place myself in a situation where I can alter the sound, but I can start from a certain aspect. Now, what do I mean? If I have, say, a Minitar bass synthesizer, there is enough on that machine that can let me shape the sound, let me alter the sound drastically. I can go into techno mode with really elevated, fast resonating sounds, and I can go back to a bass sound. There's two oscillators that I can tweak. I really do love the fact that that is possible. Now, when it comes to sound design, why is it important to understand what it can do? If you, and we touched on that earlier, if you are looking to not bring too many boxes or too much gear to the stage, now you either have to read the manual or get savvy with this one machine that can give you multiple options. If you have multiple options on one machine, that means that, say, if you got two options on one machine, if you got two machines, that's 4 tracks that you can do already, right? Can you imagine if there's 3 or 4 different things you can do? Now, why am I going on about the manual? The manual is something that the manufacturer has concocted. And if you understand what's happening in there, then you can also think on, how can I break the code? Can I break the code? Can I do something different? Can I do something else? Or can I figure out something that it was not meant for? At a certain point, it was blasphemous to use a bass synthesizer for something else. Now, I've made the greatest arpeggios with my Minitar. Even though it's only 3 octaves, I've made like the best things with it. Because it wasn't intended for that, it now does something different, and that thinking out of the box, pun intended, is something that's really cool to try out. So if you have a machine that says, this is this machine, and the manufacturers are like, it's this, and you figure out like, okay, it's this, but it's also that, it will give you a unique selling point. So when it comes to sound design, I always try to do stuff that is different or odd or wasn't meant for that machine. Like certain artists like Richard D. James, Aphex Twin. He was notorious for buying synthesizers, and the first thing he did once he got the synthesizer out of the box was get the screwdriver, and he just went in there and just altered the sound just because he could. And that's just really cool, I think a modern day version of Richard D. James has to be Look Mom, No Computer. Not a guy that just cannot stop himself by ruining synthesizers and just like giving them a second life and stuff. I love the fact that that's possible. I'm not that savvy with a soldering iron. So for me, it's to do with the sound design. Can I just try something that is different? And that was probably not intended. Obviously, I'm not going to, try and make like the best bass line or a Bach overture with my 909 drum computer, as certain boxes are made for certain things. But trying to just like break the mold and stretch the limits on what's possible. I've seen it happen that, the Minitar has 3 octaves. Once you hit the top octave, it will play notes, but it will not go higher. And then if you play a sequence and you exceed that 3rd octave, it will just not track any more notes. But I've made certain patterns with it where that was absolutely awesome. It was like the best thing ever. For some reason, it was really cool that stuff happened. That it was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. So Yeah, try and think out of the box when it comes to sound design. What kind of boxes do you use if you sound design? What are sound design tricks that you use? Are you guys using presets a lot, or are you tweaking your sound beforehand and then using those presets? Let me know in the comment section how you go about it. I'm very much like to hear from you. I'd like to say, hey, what's up? Brian Rogers is in the house. He says, I'm still at work. Yeah, I think the people in the Canada and America are still at work. What do you think about acid? Are we talking about a TB303 or are we talking about LSD? What are you talking about here? When it comes to LSD, I don't use it. I think a lot of people have really cool insights. When it comes to the TB03, which I own, or a 303, or a TV3, or a TD3, or a Zox box, or there are so many. I love it. And why do I love it? Now, I love acid because if we look at the sound and the heritage, it comes from a specific place, And I was thinking, I'm going to look at my phone because maybe the one person who made that kind of music, no, he has not responded yet, unfortunately. I've asked DJ Pierre to come, but he was very, very busy. But talking about acid, acid house is it's a genre, but at the same time, there's something very interesting about the TB03. Now, it was intended to be a bassline machine, and that failed drastically. So yeah, Roland tried to make a accompanying box next to a drum machine. So the 606 and the 303 are the pair that everybody that was supposed to work. The TB03 or the 303 has got fluctuating frequencies, meaning it can do multiple things at the same time. If you play high notes and low notes, which is what certain acid lines are, you get these different frequency ranges that really, really work out well. And what I like about them is that if you have, that's why you can only use the one box in terms of a 909 and a 303, and I've frequented parties back in the days that started at Friday, and Monday we didn't really know where we were and why we were still there, but we were, and it was constantly that same thing. It just kept going and going and going. And the TB03 is, if people say like, I want to learn something about sound and frequencies, I'll tell them, try and create an acid track with a TB303. And apart from the wizardry you need to know in terms of programming it, it's that range. You can make really nice low bass lines with it, which is cool. And there's a lot of tracks that people don't know that were a 303. I think Mantronics used the 303. Let the Music Play by Shannon. That is a 303. That's just playing bass notes, mind you. Look them up, those tracks. Shannon, Let the Music Play. Absolutely awesome track. 303 and an 808. And a delay pedal. That was it. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, jam on it. I had a 303 line. Okay. 100%. 303. Okay. In the chat, give me all these 303 records. I want to see how many you know. Let's keep them going right now. Go, 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 go. 303 tracks. Famous 303 tracks. Let us know. Acid Track by DJ Pierre. I'll set the first one so you can't say that anymore. Yeah, so if you are actually, if you're, what was this? Highest stage of consciousness. Ooh, highest state of consciousness. Chance McDermott. Chance. Greetings from Kalamazoo. What's happening, Chance? Welcome. Deborah, what did you say? Ooh, let the music. Yeah, it's a tune though, isn't it? It's a tune. It's one of those tracks when you listen to. There you go. We were speaking about it earlier in our Learn to Play live chat. That's a track with drums and just the bass line. Listen to how they've done it. That's one of those tracks. Chance McDermott, Fast Eddie. Which track though? Get busy. Not that one, wasn't it? Hyperactive Chicago. Yeah, man, wicked. Drop bass network. Oh, here we go. I'm hitting a sweet spot with the acid ones. Come on, keep him coming, keep him coming, keep him coming. Acid Thunder, what's the wonder? Oh, woohoo! Hypo, Fantasy Girl. I'm gonna put the chat on stage, guys, because this is nice. Nice one. Yeah, let's see. But it's goes a little slow, I think. It will come. So that's really, really, really cool. So in terms of the sound design, so in terms of the frequencies, when you're making a tune and you are thinking of um, filling the room, because this is where we're going. When it comes to sound design, you want to fill the room up. You don't want to use extra stuff, and the 303 takes up a lot of space. Mind you, if you don't know what you're doing and you're using a 303 for the first time, it's going to take up a lot of space. I think the 303, I've made it work to play a 303 next to a mini tower, but it was headache to get it going in the beginning because, they're both big booty ladies that want to be on the same small elevator, and it doesn't really work sometimes. So you have to really think like who is what and where was what. So when the 303 is there, I will tweak it so that it's got that low end of the punchy stuff, and I'll just open it up. Well, everybody knows this squelchy stuff that everybody uses, but the trick is to really spread that out. Now, when it comes to a production, and the squelchy stuff is like what Lemmy said, like the Higher States of Consciousness by Josh Wink. Sorry, Josh. Josh is also a Philadelphian. Nice one. That's just absolutely amazing tune, by the way. Confusion, Pump Panel Remix. Ooh. Yeah. Everybody, Fatboy Slim, everybody needs a 303. Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming. We need more acid tracks, guys. We want to know more acid tracks. Yeah. Next stream, I'm actually going to just maybe do it from the studio because I'm not at my studio right now. And I will just maybe do a little bit of a jam. Ooh, Chance McDurban. Okay, Alexi Shelby. Was this on Jacks Up Records, though, Chance? Was this on Vertigo? Was this on Jacks Up Records? It was, wasn't it? Funny story about Saskia Slegers, Miss Jax, by the way. She had a hip-hop label. It was hardcore underground hip-hop. And just like that, I think she went to Chicago or whatever, and she literally flipped the whole label. And then she started putting out tracks by KLXC and stuff like that. And absolutely, she did a lot of acid stuff. Fatboy Slim, Magic Carpet Ride, was it acid? Wow. Nice, thanks for sharing your experience. I think also that the sequencer makes 60% of the acid exit. Not only that, Mustafa, not only that, you know what's also, this is a big thing that a lot of people don't get. Electronics back in those days were flimsy. It was cool, but it was flimsy. So the 909 and the 303, there was something wrong with the timing. And that is what made those machines. Because they tried their best to stay in tune. I'll dare you now. If you get a 909 and you can just link it up to Ableton and record the kick drum. Just do it. You can leave it on for a day. If you will find one bass drum that's actually dead on the grid, you're lucky. And I even know that there is a version 4 EEPROM that you can get and place that in the 909 so that the timing is better. On the later ones, they had a different EEPROM so that the timing was better, but it was still off. And that is a big part of why these sounds work, because one of my Rotterdam mates, a Rotterdam producer, Nigel Montero, I mastered a lot of his track. He really has that atonal techno vibe. He had a TD3, I think, and then he had a TR8 in the beginning, and he was like, yeah, new school guys, young new school producers. This 909 hype, I don't know this 909 hype, blah blah blah. He was really going at it there was something wrong with me, and I'm over saturating it. But I told him, here's my 909. Go sit over there, and you know what? Here's a headphone. I'll speak to you in an hour. And he just walked into my studio. We're like, oh my god! So what is this? So there is something with the groove. There is something with the fabric of the drums that's completely different. And I said, like, well, there you go. And that's what made the whole thing. And it's the same with the 303 as well. Vertigo Percolator by Kashmir. No, there's no acid in Percolator. Did Curtis? No, I don't think Curtis used acid in that. Did he? Or was there a remix? Acid seduction. Acid seduction. Yeah. Woo. Morricone to Yicky Yicky. Is there an acid line in there? Liam, stop it. Is there an acid line in there? I don't know. Stecker, Humanoid. Remember the break? Humanoid. All of a sudden it becomes, from a house track, it became that. Nice. You guys are inspiring me to go make acid. Thomas P. Hackman, Acid Seduction. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming in the chat. You're going well. Going well. Hit me up with the super chats if you want to. Helps the channel also. Just going to blatantly ask for that as well. Thanks if you value this thing, spread the word and spread the word and spread the word. Yes, they use multiple. Oh, did they? I don't know. Oh, DJ Misha, DJ Tim. That's Rotterdam right there. Misha, Tim, Axis. Yep. That's acid. You know what I mean? Yes. It just came to me, Deborah. I was also thinking about, like, whoa, what the hell? Okay, so that's my sound design take. Again, a wide range of stuff. You can really think on different things. Sound design to me is something you do on the fly. When you're talking classic sound design, obviously, it's like, you got your waveforms, you got your subtractive synthesis, your edit synthesis, and whatever. Whoa, what's happening? Woo! Christian. Woo. Cheers, brother. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Christian Doming in the house. Yeah, so in the end of the day, it's all about playing something live and doing something live and trying to just alter the sound. Now, that's two things. I think that a performance should always be something that is catered towards a crowd. I will serve a crowd. There's people that say, like, screw that, I perform, you don't like it, get the hell out of the Dodge. Well, that is not me. So when I do something, I like it to be interactive. So I can tweak a Minitar. I can tweak a Minilog XD. I swear by that machine for sound design. To be honest, if you want to make sound design, if you want to make sounds, cool sounds, I swear that's one of the machines I really like. But if I'm doing something, I don't want to be standing there and the crowd is like, oh, wow. Because in the end of the day, when you show up with a Dawless rig, you look like you're flying a Boeing 747 anyway. So people say, like, oh, wow, it was really cool. But 5 minutes later, like, So it's cool if they understand what's happening. The guys in France now, like Joris Delacroix and those cats, they've got a concept. I thought of that concept a long time ago, but I never fulfilled. They really, really got a cool concept. They literally have a dollar setup, 3 guys. I think Ableton is involved. And they've got this one controller where the crowd can just walk up on stage and they can just, like, tweak knobs and alter the sound completely of the set as it is happening. Well, that's really cool. So can you imagine something like Store that Jochem, the Speedy J, is doing, and you can just walk up and just, like, tweak the sound. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in that respect. But I would also like to keep my performance interactive to a point where people understand. I want people to walk away from my set and say, like, I understood what happened. I felt something really moved, because DJ sets are static. And I don't know if you watched the melodic techno scene lately. I don't know. I mean, you will get fined if you smile when you're playing a gig. You know, for one, you have to wear this like oversized t-shirt and stand like you were cold. You cannot really laugh at anything, and you just like have to really like, what the hell is that? What can anybody explain what the hell's happening there? I don't know. So literally, what I would love is for people to see me having fun, because I think that translates to other people. You know, when you see somebody having fun, you're like, okay, he's having fun. Why am I not having fun? Paid all this money to get in here, and you know, so yeah, it's that thing. And then if they see me tweak a knob and they hear the sound change, and I don't go too fast, it's like, yes, this is something that I love. I love what's happening, and that's exactly where you would like to see certain things. You know what I mean? It's really, 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 really cool. So interactivity, very important. Should we talk about GAS, gear acquisition syndrome? um, in the beginning, I gasped for a lot of things. I wanted a lot of machines, and there was a time where I had so much money I could just buy whatever I wanted. And I bought it and I bought it and I bought it. But gas is also limiting your ability to think straight when it comes to concise performance. We're trying to make a concise performance most of the time. We like for it to be convincing, because obviously, why would people pay money to go and see you? Because that's what a lot of people are asking me. How do I get to a certain thing? Saying doming 100%. Yeah. How do I? Yeah. See, hard floor remix. That doesn't. I don't think that counts. The hard floor remix. You know. You are inspiring. You. Thanks. Thank you very much. So yeah, gassing for certain things, if you are trying to just do a gig, this is what I'm going to say about it. I mean, you can gas for something, but really understand what it is that you want to buy. Don't just buy something because it's shiny. I mean, I saw so many DJs that show up with their let me put it this way: I can spot a DJ that cannot play records from a mile ago, from because they always show up with these fancy headphones and the headphones and the pouch where the USBs goes. That's also cool. And then they start and they can mix to save their life. So I'm like, why? What are you doing? And why are you doing that? So, make sure that if you got this one box and you master it completely and you feel like, okay, I'm ending up I need something else. I wanna progress and proceed. Yeah, that's when you can really, really go for something, because gas literally is like, what do you want to buy? I see people, especially in the modular world, man, I see people just going for modules because they are shiny, and that's why they want them. So if you want to make a concise, cool, compelling, convincing live set, and that doesn't matter if you play to one person, 10 people, 10,000 people, 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. The feeling is the exact same. Just make sure that you know what you're doing, and when you're bringing your gear, you know what the gear does. Like I said, break the mold. Be like the NSA. Try and just like crack the code. Read the manual, or at least figure out what something does, and just like reverse engineer it and try it out. And then your gas will work differently, because now you're trying to just like get something to work in your setup that's not obvious. And sidetracking a little bit, the one thing I think you need to also take into consideration is the unique selling point that you all have. Everybody has it. But insecurity compels us to just like copy somebody else, because that's a proven concept. So we're going to stick with that because we think that is where we need to go. So I end up listening to a lot of demos of much of the same stuff, and I keep telling people, find your own sound. And then they go like, what do you mean? And I'm like, and they find it so hard to just do whatever. That's why I love this Dawless approach, because you can just go into it. You can just like do your thing. don't need a lot of gear, just learn your stuff well, and yeah, that's 100%, you know. Um, and if you're patient enough and you stick with a setup for a long time, you'll find that you can still find a sort of like backdoor into it and experience something new again, which is weird. I've got synthesizers in my studio that have been there, you know, they were just about there after the Last Supper, but they were there, and still to this day I find new stuff on them. On my last video, the last one I posted on YouTube, I explained how Stevie Wonder um, played in Rotterdam for a concert called North Sea Jazz. And North Sea Jazz, a lot of jazz artists play that. I mean, everybody's been here and played. You know, Omar's played it. Mary J. Blige played it. So these cats now that did the backline, I know them and I know them well. One of them is a bass player for a big band, and he played bass on one of my records and stuff. And he was taking care of the backline. So he came to my studio, like, I need your MS-10, MS-20. He came into my studio not asking. He's like, I need it, because he knew I was going to go like, no. Yeah, but it's for a big artist. And I went like, well, so? Yeah. I said, who is it? I can't say who it is. I'm like, dude, if you're not telling me who it is, then I'm not going to give you my shit. You know? So in the end of the day, he said, okay, it's for Stevie Wonder, you know? These synthesizers have been with me like forever and ever. I've got this MS-10 that I got off Patrick van Kerkhoven, which is DJ Roughneck, if you know who he is. He's like hardstyle god, hardstyle royalty, and we both come from the same area in Holland. So I bought it of his, so I got it from him. And I have a Alpha Juno 2, the one that made the Dominator sound. I have got that one. I own it. But then again, sidetracking. But yeah, so Stevie Wonder now has my synthesizers, and he performs with it, and I get them back a week later. I cannot believe what he's done to it. There is a lead sound on the MS-10. There is a bass sound on the MS-20. I'm looking at my synthesizers when I turn them on, and I'm looking at them like they've been abducted by a Martian and just been returned to me. And I literally didn't touch these synthesizers for what? For at least 3-4 months. Like, I just didn't want to. The sound that can you understand, if you know the MS-10 and the MS-20, there's not a lot of knobs on this synthesizer, mind you. There's not a lot of sound. It does a lot of stuff, and you can patch it and stuff, but he literally no patching in there. Just the sound. It was just weird. Something like, okay, I can feel the experience, the love, the ears. I can feel it on my synths, and it was like, So that was an experience I'm very, very happy to share with you, because I was so happy that I experienced that. So yeah, that was really, really a cool vibey thing. Any questions, guys? If you got questions, also let me know in the comment section. I think we're going well, aren't we? Yeah, this is going well. If this is of some value for you guys, let me know. You want to know anything about it? Enroll, learn to play live. We're talking more of this stuff. I've just started with the course as masterclasses there, and we teach you how to not suck, basically. So that's very superstitious. Yeah, no, it was one bass, it's a Reese bass type bassline chants, Reese long with a long release, but at the same time, like that. And the lead line was like that Dr. Dre-ish kind of, that kind of vibe. It was absolutely amazing. It was, yeah. But then again, I wanted to use the synth, and then, it took me a while to just like own my synths again, because they literally were like de-owned. I didn't own them. They were just there. I was an innocent bystander for a long time. And that was just like funny, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's that. Okay, I will go to another point on screen, which is workflow and organization. We're all creatives, and we all try to make as much out of our creativity as we can. That's That's the goal. That's what we tell ourselves, and it's true to an extent. But when it comes to trying to have a concise idea of what you want other people to understand what you're about, you do need workflow and organization. Now, organization could be anything. For me, it is placing numbers on my players, looking at my electronic orchestra. I've got an orchestra background. I have played in an orchestra when I was a kid, and I didn't value that at the time. I didn't like it at all. Because yeah, I was a young kid. Hip hop music came up, and there I was with my mom's self-made clothes, because obviously she wasn't going to spend money on clothes if she was going to pay for my music education. So I was running around with a saxophone case with all these dodgy Poindexter clothes. Not cool. But in the orchestra then, that I hated at the time, it set me up to be part of the music. So I'm now within the frequency structure, because I'm sitting next to all these different elements. I'm here. The clarinets are sitting in front of me. The trumpets are sitting next to me. And then more and more and more. And then you become part of this greatest sound scheme. It's like you're sitting inside of the speaker. And this has set me up to think my workflow needs to be that. I need to just place certain elements within my live set in a way that they are, a band. For instance, if you look at the Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, whatever, symbol, and his band, you had a clear drummer, then you had Sheila E. taking percussion, and then you had so many different elements within the band that made the band. And that is how I look at my live set. That can be the Police with a drummer, a bassist, and a singer, and that's that. That can be Earth, Wind, and Fire with a 20 section horn. Doesn't matter, as long as you organize it in a way that it's something you can manage in your mind. So for me, I've got my drums on one machine, then I've got percussion on another machine. Drums could be Octatrack, could be MPC, could be the modular, but it will still do the same thing. I don't care, it will still do the same thing. Then percussion, top loops, that's my 1010 black box. And maybe some sounds. Yeah, I've got an Ericsson's filter that I will stick on some of those. And then I'll have my Minitar for bass. I have my J6 for pads. And then there's maybe some effect pedals that I can use on certain sounds. Or if I'm bringing the AKM1, the mixer that I've built myself, then I've got 3 auxiliary synths. I can use it there. But that's pretty much how I have my workflow done. Question: do you have personal limitation in using tracks at one time to just not be overwhelmed by sound coming off your machines? No, and I had it in the beginning, but what I do is that, again, I organize it. So I build it up. So mind you, I'm doing this for a long time and I still get nervous every time. It's not funny. I'm literally shit my pants 5 minutes for go time. It's not, I don't like it and I can't seem to get rid of it. I just embraced it, but it is what it is. So what I try to do is I build it up in a logical sense. So first I start with a kick drum, then I add some sounds on top of it. From the minute I see that sitting well in the room, I will add a bass line. Now, my philosophy is, if you cannot dance to drums and bass, you should get the hell out of the studio. What the hell are you doing there? If you cannot dance on the bare foundation, bass and drums, get out of there. So this is the first thing I will organize in the studio to, that's what I train myself. So that if anything else fails, I know that will work, right? So that's, from the minute that's successful, and I'm not the only one dancing in the crowd also enjoying themselves, that's when I get more confident. That's when I see that the room starts to gel a little bit. And mind you, I have to take over from these DJs, and most of them are guns and their own DJs. They just keep throwing stuff, white noise at the crowd, and they're just overpowering everyone. And you're like, how do I follow this, So because of all that trickery and that white noisy and the big drops and the guns and their own breakdowns, it's very hard to try and overpower it. So I don't. And with the dollar setup, it's the less is more that works. So the kick drum, I'm sorry, you can bring whatever USB track you have. I know that my battering ram is going to kick your butt in a second. So that's what I'm going to do. So first the kick comes in. Bam, bam, bam. If I see people behind the bar in the back of the club dancing, and you see people from the sides walking in because you see people turning, you know, okay, this kick drum is kicking ass. I'll add some drums to it, and then I'll slowly build up the track. And then the bass line. And the trick is I'll take out low end. The mini guitar is a beast. I'll take out low end. And from the minute I see people are standing in range of the speaker, I'll just boost in the low end and there you go. By that time, whatever track you played, DJ, whatever your name is, it's done. You know what I mean? Because I'm the boss of the room. Because my sound is bigger. It's analog and it's huge. So the 3 sounds that I'm using as opposed to the 30 sounds coming off your USB, it's gone. And that is where I can get my confidence that I think like, okay, let me lay it out and play it a little bit more. And then I structure the sound. Then I take stuff in and out. But I don't really push everything into the room at the same time, which is what happens if DJs play. Their tracks go too fast. I mean, we're accustomed to it. But after 16 or 32 bars, there's a lot of shit happening on a record. After 32 bars, nothing's happening with me. You're still listening to the same shit because I want you to understand where I'm coming from. And I'm a greedy bastard. If you are standing with your back to me, I'm not a jukebox. I'm not going to give you anything because I don't play to your back. I want you to be engaged with me. And then people turn around and everybody's on the same page. And that's how I do it. So, you know, personal limitations, get rid of them in the beginning of the set. That's how you can do that. Another question, Stereo's question. I've been double tracking and moving things back to create spatial depth and a wide stereo sounds by creating a stereo pair to make the Haas effect, sometimes with pre-delay, which is cool in the studio, Christian, but it doesn't work in the club system because most club systems, if you're lucky, are stereo, but only after, what is it, maybe I think all the low ends is mono, and most sound systems are mono. So to do a Haas effect, it will just, you know, sometimes doesn't work. And what is stereo exactly? I've seen that certain synthesizers use different waveforms. One goes left, one goes right, and then they're even loud, so they clip. So you have to understand also that stereo is not the stereo spreading, it's the difference of things. So if you want to create a stereo effect, try and using your oscillators in a way, if you can pan them to have one oscillator, or maybe let's talk about a Reese bass. We all know what a Reese bass is. I'll explain. So if you've got like 2 oscillators, you detune one slightly, you get that, you know. The Reese bass for some reason has drum and bass, jungle, techno, house. I don't know, it just pops up on everything, but it's the same bass line made by Kevin Reese Saunderson. Now that Reese bass is a thing. If you can pan these 2 oscillators, not to an extent that, you know, if it's mono, one is gone, but, you know, have it like maybe 10 left, 10 right, that will create a little bit of a width, or think of dual mono, and also tweak the oscillators differently maybe, and you can go crazy. Try and experiment with it, guys. See what that does. Great question, by the way. Any tips on that mixing stage for live is easier? Well, I just explained it. If there's anything you want to know, just come in. But I do think that is something you can do. So, and also people think that stereo is something that everything needs to be stereo. This is cooking. And Lock Kitchen comes with a cooking analogy. Okay. This is cooking. You know, when you're cooking, you are adding your spices. You're not adding everything in. So everything doesn't, you know, you need to have an accent of certain things. So pick the one thing that you want people to really listen to and work on this. Work on this sound so that is the one thing that's taking the attention. You know, if I'm going to come back to the Minotaur again, the Minotaur's got these 2 oscillators. You can really make a Reese bass on it. I will do that, but I will make sure that people will hear it. So first start with it with one oscillator down and one up. So there's one on, it's an octave. The second oscillator, you can pitch it like -12, center, or +12. So that goes up 3 octaves. if you do that and you just place them both on 12 o'clock and you just detune one a little bit, that's where you can get that really stereotype style feeling. Or use a pedal. If you want to get stuff into stereo, use a pedal. Eventide, Strymon, something that's you can spend a little bit of money on it, and that will just make a world of a difference. It doesn't mean that everything needs to go through it. So if you're using an auxiliary stand on a mixer, guys, don't stick a reverb on everything. That's what I see people do. Yeah, my dynamics are not cool. Yeah, because you stuck reverb on everything. That's never going to work. So pick the sound that you want, stick reverb through it. And if you get more savvy, you got an H7, for instance, use program change to go to a different track to have a different reverb. But that's a different story. Hope that helps. Doesn't make a difference between the groove feeling of analog digital clocking for syncing the gears. I feel the difference as I test it. I don't really want to get into the digital or analog debate, as nowadays it doesn't make a difference anymore, to be honest. As a matter of fact, there are sound engineers that say that they prefer digital because analog is cool, but if you work on analog tape, it deteriorates. So by the time the track is finished, it's not the same as it was when you started recording. So analog clocking, digital clocking is more accurate. Obviously, if it comes to the tightness of clocks, you will have to rely on modern equipment. I think that chipsets nowadays are better than back in the days because electronics were very iffy, and they were very reliant on what kind of power they got. And if the power isn't of the 909, for instance, if the power fluctuates a little bit, that clock just takes off. If that is your master, it will screw your setup completely. So yeah, in terms of clocking, I would prefer a digital clock. I would slave an analog thing to it that would somewhat follow the clock, like a 909 could give that groove again. And then in terms of the mixing, if you turn up the 909, people think that that is the master. So, make sure that the engine of the train is the one is of course is the big one, but place something in somebody's face so that they will think like, okay, that is what's happening right there. If that makes any sense. Wow, it was an amazing webinar. Thank you. Okay, see you, Toph. Good night. Will be available. Yep, of course. This thing is available because it's recording. It's recording. Okay, I see a lot of people are also going. Is there anything else people want to know? Let me know. Okay. Preparing for your first gig. That's the last point I would like to get into. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Preparing for your first gig. Now, if you've listened to anything that I just told you, if you prepare for your first gig, try and keep it as simple as you can. That's the one rule that I would tell anyone. Keep it as simple as you can. We overthink stuff, especially when we think like, okay, let's whoa everybody, let's make this the best show ever. If we give ourselves a lot to think about, we are going to just shoot ourselves in the foot. Now, I want to say that I saw people do it, but unfortunately, this comes from my own stupidity, so I've made that mistake more than once. Again, insecurity and trying to just like convince people, and then, you bring more stuff than you need, and you change stuff at the last minute. Stick with the plan. Go with the plan and stick with that plan, and then think, okay, what is it that I want? Now, one thing that nobody thinks about is that the answer to success lies with the person that's giving you your first gig. Talk to these people. And say like, okay, who is this for? What do you want? What do you expect? And what do you need from me? and then explain to them what it is that you think you're going to bring. When you're on the same page, that gives you ease, peace of mind. Second question: is there a sound engineer? Is there somebody that can help me out, that can actually explain something to me, or that I can talk to, so that I can set myself up? Is there a sound check time? Is those things are very important also to take into consideration. And speak with the sound guy. You know, the owner of the club probably doesn't know anything about the sound, so he'll pretend he'll know something about it, but that's not the person to talk to. So my rule of thumb is, when you speak to a Christmas tree, speak to the peak and not to the balls hanging in the bottom of the tree. Yeah. So make sure you get your information from the source, and then prepare and just have a few things that you know, have a few things that work, and give yourself a few things that you can do once everything goes. So there's this one thing that you know you're going to do. There's this one thing that needs to happen. That's a bit scary, but practice it a lot. And then there's this one thing that, if everything goes well, yeah, I'm going to pull that shit off. For me, it was playing a solo. I was scared to play solos. I would never do it. But once I got confident enough, maybe I would try something. And then now I don't care. It just happens. But those are things that you can again organize in your mind, in your brain, to give you some time, and try it again. Now, if you're still scared as hell, play it to some of your friends. Have your setup in a place, and ask a few of your friends. A few, I say a few, because if you ask 10 people, you got 10 opinions, and then you know as much as not knowing anything. So it's very important to understand that, keep it simple. Ask a few friends, and try it out on them. Or maybe when you're jamming or you're doing it, have them sit there. And it is, sometimes your mates come in and they roll a spliff and they're sitting there, and you get a cool vibe in your studio or whatever. It's cool to play stuff when people are there. We, as soloists, if you are, we get very in our heads. I get very in my brain. And if there's nobody around me, for some reason, I will descend to a different reality, where what I think I'm going to do and what needs to happen in the club or venue, whatever, are two different things. Then again, when I went to Groningen, I just played there a very ravey set. It was absolutely awesome. I needed to stick within that almost autistic, sort of like ADHD vibe that I have, and I didn't want to just get sidetracked. So I had to place my gear on the desk, and I was like, oh no, and I missed this cable. I literally put a footy game on my phone because my team was playing, and I watched footy while the gig was going on, and they were like, what are you doing? Oh, he's watching footy. So they left me alone. And while I was just in my comfort zone, connecting all my gear and connecting all my stuff, I literally got into my own sort of routine, because usually when you get to a venue, everybody wants to talk to you. You've got Klingons. Klingons are people that cling on, and they come with booze and they spit your ear full with nonsense. They're enthusiastic, they're fans, they understand it, but I'm trying to connect my gear here. I'm not here to make a social call. So trying to just be in your own zone and making sure that whatever you do works. I mean, it doesn't sound friendly. I don't mean it that way, but if you are like me and you get nervous fast, if you get out of your zone, it's cool to just find ways to get into your comfort zone. Prepare ample time beforehand, and get there with a few friends that can shield you off of Klingons. That is something that I would do, and then just get out there and play, and things are gonna go wrong. So yeah, once you embrace the fact that stuff is gonna go wrong, you don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It will go wrong anyway. It's never going to go as planned, and I think that is cool. Is there anyone in the chat that wants to ask something? I'm going to wrap it up, guys. This was fun. This was also scary for me, because this is the first time that I ever actually did a talk live kind of thing. Oh, yeah, there's a question by Christian Domi. Can you explain some technical writers tips? I like to present and mix your equipment and dimensions for your setup. The problem with a technical writer for a live set is that in 6 months, your 6 weeks, your setup has changed. try and make it as simple to other people as you can, Chris. Meaning, um, again, speak to the sound guy. Have him play some DIs there, so that you got like the DI boxes on stage, direct ins, so that you don't have to now, in the middle of somebody's DJ set, have to take out a mixer, connect your stuff in the back with all the risk that the guy's gonna hate you playing before you. So make sure that stuff is already um, sorted out. Um, put some things on the rider that makes them think this guy is serious. So I've got my hospitality rider and I've got my technical rider. Now, asking for like Dom Perignon, blah, 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 is not going to make you the coolest guy in the world. But if you ask for fresh fruits and certain things, they go like, oh, wait a minute. This guy is thinking of something else. So there might be something on your rider that will work. On the technical rider, explain what it is that you're doing. The technical rider should be clear. Not like, okay, yeah, I need this amount of space for those, then, that. My sound output is going to be this. I need cables, da, 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 da. The cables that I'm bringing are da, da, da. The cables I need from the club is da, da, da. Get there on time. 9 out of 10 times, they never fix that, Get on the phone with the people, because you can send the rider, but the people, mostly interns, taking care of the technical rider are not the people that need to sort it out. And when you get to the club, that's when the sound guy or girl is going to sort it out. So whatever you can do beforehand, you do it. My idea, put your shit in a case. Bring the case, open the case, give the sound guy the left and the right, boom. Give him the monitors, boom, and you're done within 5 minutes. If that is not the case, make sure that they know what you're bringing, so make it very, very presentable, and make sure that the rider is also something people can read in a dark environment club. I know these techno guys have this black this black piece of paper with all their stuff on it, and then the tech guy comes in the DJ booth with that's not well lit, and he doesn't make sense. So make sure that everything is clear. Make sure that when you send it out, people have already, they acknowledge the fact that they've seen your rider. You need to have confirmation that they've seen it. And also make sure, this is another trick, but this is something I will do in a future masterclass. Make sure it says on your rider, if you do not provide this stuff, there are chances that I am not going to play and get paid beforehand. So your fee needs to be there, and then when you get there, then people are going to run and make it work for you. So don't give them an excuse to screw up your set, because the crowd does not know it's not your mistake, but they will blame you. So all your hard work, all your trying to just like be this artist and what this music industry dictates of us now, being a mastering engineer, mixing engineer, social media specialist, blah, 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 blah. Everything you need to be. Breast milk from a virgin, you need to just like fed them from someplace. This is something that is out of your control if it gets done wrong. So make sure that, think, rethink, backtrack, go back, reverse engineer, and just do it. It's simple. It's a rider, but, I got it wrong a lot of times. So make sure that works. Another question, hope that answers your question, by the way. Another question, can I learn to get into the gold zone, for example, to say enough materials and modulations? Yes, of course you can. I would say sign up to learn to play .live. We teach you how to interpret sound. In the end of the day, it's all to do with how do you interpret sound? What do you hear? And a better artist is somebody that hears more than somebody else. If it's in hierarchy, if it's competition, if it's your personal development, again, it's it's not cool to know the essential working of any joke, because then no joke would be funny. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's cool to know more than somebody else, because that is what's going to get you into the gold zone. But the thing is, it's different for everyone. So we need to find your specific sweet spot. We need to find your unique selling point. We need to find what it is that makes you you. And this is a point of development. This is not something that is there. Or it is there and you need to discover it first. And that takes time. I do think that you can get it in within 32 weeks, because the only advantage you have with taking a course with me is the fact that I've been doing it for so long. It's not what you learn, it's I teach you what not to do. And yeah, you get to a point where that is important. What not to do. Not what to do, what not to do. How to not suck. How to not connect your gear in the wrong way. How to not spill drinks. I know how to not chew chewing gum when you're on stage. Everybody's like cool and chewing gum. I just take artists into the room and say, look at this guy chewing gum. The next thing he's going to do, he's going to give you milk. You look like a cow. And when you look like you don't care, a promoter is not going to spend extra money on you, because you just made it clear you don't care. And your writer said, don't parry on, and you're chewing gum, and you're on your phone all the time. Why the hell would I book you again? You look like you don't care. So there are things and tips and trips that you need to understand. And that is what I've got to say on that. So check out learntoplay.live. We get you in the zone. And yeah, hope that answers your question. I came late, my apologies. How do I sign up? Go to learntoplay.live and check it out. I mean, we're starting in March with the new course, but we're starting it right now. Or you can jump on this one that's just started. That's only 3 weeks in. So you can still jump on board if you're interested. Yay, guys, what do you think? I think it went well. I liked it. And thanks for the questions. Thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to me. Yeah, 3 weeks in out of 36 weeks. So the course is a 36-week course. You can find everything on learntoplay.live. Go and check it out, and you'll learn everything. And it's not just me. I mean, I think that I know a lot, but there's people. I made sure I've got people that I can learn stuff from as well in there. So all those asset questions, you're gonna have to ask DJ Pierre, as he's one of our teachers. You know what I mean? So that's cool. We've got Funk Devoid. We've got Joe Smooth. Brothers, sisters, we take you to the promised land. He's gonna probably tell you something on sound and arrangement stuff. Tomo's gonna tell you about legal stuff, contracts and stuff like that, and how to promote yourself. He does the biggest like Tomorrowland gigs and stuff. So that's cool to talk to him. Atti Baal, that's a professor here at the Amsterdam University who's writing minors for them. He's got a Dolby Atmos system. And he's a Grammy-nominated sound designer who did a lot of stuff with Judas Priest. And he mixed The Wave of the Future for Quadrophonia years ago. Stayed in touch with him. And, I just shut up when I'm with him, because he's just the smartest cat. He's going to tell you a lot of stuff about immersive audio and Dolby Atmos and stuff like that. So, yeah. I'd like to say thanks. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for being here. Doming. Christian Vossen, Master D, leave me at home. We won vibes. Mustafa, thank you. Marshall Dix was here. Tough Junks was here. Thank you for being here. I will chop certain things out of this recording. And yeah, this concludes our broadcast day. Keep watching this space. End of this week, there is a regular broadcast on YouTube. And if not anything else, peace. I'm out. Go out there and make some noise. Peace.